It is impossible to live fearlessly without first dying to the concept of fear. Have you ever been so fearful to the point of experiencing mental paralysis? Do you feel like a hostage in your own mind, bound by false beliefs, missed opportunities, and past failures? If so, this might be one for you. Fear is natural, so I don't want to make this a video about guilt tripping or shaming anybody just from feeling fear. So let me start the video off just by saying that you're not crazy, you're not delusional, there's nothing wrong with you just for simply feeling fear. Fear is a natural state of mind that each of us encounter throughout life. It's just something that you can't escape. It's part of the human experience. So again, this ain't a video to guilt trip people about feeling fearful, but rather helping us to navigate fear itself and how to use it and leverage it to still accomplish our purpose and achieve ultimate potential in this life. At the end of the day, fear is something that we can't necessarily avoid. It's part of who we are. The most important part about fear is not so much allowing it to control you, but learning how to control it. This isn't really something that we learned from a specific person in our lives. Fear isn't something that we seen on a chalkboard or in textbooks. But more so, fear is a response mechanism to things that are perceived to be outside of our control. Fear is an intangible. It can be created and destroyed. It is created from a place of misunderstanding or a lack of knowledge behind a given scenario or situation. It is destroyed when information or a powerful insight has been given. You can't be fearful of something you have full knowledge about or a concept you have complete understanding of. Therefore, fear can only sink its teeth into our minds through ignorance. When you find yourself afraid of anything, I think the best thing to do, at least from what I found to be helpful for me, is just taking a step back. Fear comes in many different forms. It's not specifically set to one type of event or feeling or emotion. It can take place and take deep roots into many different places in our lives. So by having the knowledge of what it looks like and how to uproot it, I think is very important for us to make strides and becoming more fearless and doing things that result in higher output and achieving more things in life. Because at the end of the day, a lot of things that stop us is just fear. So when we know what they look like, we'll know how to better mitigate the problems and issues that come from allowing fear to take root in our lives. Fear can come in the form of selfishness, from you feeling like you can't give a specific part of yourself away to people, not being able to give in a way that you know would benefit others because you're afraid of you losing maybe some resources, or by you giving game or understanding or knowledge or wisdom, or again, like I said, just resources, you're afraid of what could happen from you doing that. Some people think that by telling people too much information, that'll lead to a lack of opportunity for themselves. We call those people gatekeepers. Now, gatekeepers, just to kind of go off on a minute, gatekeepers are notoriously selfish people. They don't think that it's important to give away information because this will make them lose their title or their positioning that they feel like they fought so hard to earn. So in summary, don't be a gatekeeper. If there's things that you know, if there's solutions or transformations that you know could bring, a greater awareness or a greater opportunity to somebody else, feel free to give that up. It's not going to hurt you. You sharing what you know is only going to be a benefit to you and the person that you're helping. Jealousy is another one. Most people who are jealous, I believe that their jealousy is rooted in a place of fearfulness because they see opportunities being presented for others. They see potential in another person that they just don't see within themselves. And what does that breed? That goes down the rabbit hole of envy and coveting and all those other negative emotions and mindsets that come from jealousy, and jealousy being rooted in fear. When you know who you are and you know the value that you can give another person, and you're okay with who you're becoming, where you're at in your life right now, and your specific journey, and recognizing what your unique abilities are, you don't need to be envious, you don't need to be jealous, you don't need to be angry with anybody, because your journey is your journey. And that's okay with where you're at. Conformity is another aspect of fear. It's another seed of fear. When you feel like you have to be another person when you're around a group of people, and you feel like your opinions have to be rooted in what another person has to say or their approval, that's based out of fear. You're afraid of giving your own unique insight or mindset or aspect of who you are and what you think about certain things because you don't want to be disapproved of. And that's dangerous because out of fear, you will allow yourself to take on the opinions of others even if you don't agree with them, just because you're fearful of what they may think. At the end of the day, everyone's not going to like you. Everyone's not going to like you, and that's okay. So be okay with the aspect of being who you are. You can either be unliked for being who people want you to be, or you can be disliked still by being who you truly are. There is options, but the latter will still allow you to be happy with yourself yourself at the end of the day, instead of you being unhappy with the person that you chose to become out of fear. And another aspect of human nature that I found to be very deeply rooted in fear is procrastination. We don't do the things that we know we need to do because we feel as though we have all the time in the world to do them, when in all actuality we don't. You feel confident every day putting the thing off that you know you need to do because you believe that you have more time. And you don't. Look at your life through the lens of an hourglass. Not sure what age you are right now, whoever is watching this, but I'm pretty sure you're a year older than you were last year. So that should indicate to you that time is moving, and it's moving with or without your action. So being fearful to do the thing that you know you need to do is only hurting you. It's causing you harm, and it's ultimately putting off the life that you really desire for yourself because you're afraid. You're procrastinating because you don't see the sense of urgency that you need to possess in the now. So from these many different aspects of fear, what do they typically result in? Missed opportunities, not living at your highest potential. You're being plagued by negative past experiences. You want to try something new, but you're scared to continually fail because of continued past experiences of failure. The mind is nothing more than an artifact, a projection machine designed to help us predict specific outcomes based upon past experiences. When outcomes are unclear, unmeasurable, or can't be quantified, anxiety, frustration, and cortisol, the stress hormone spikes, giving way to a very unpleasant living experience. So I get it. Failure hurts. Sucking at things hurt. Not being as good as you want, to have the things you want, and to do the things you want, it hurts. But there's only one way, and that's to deal with the fear of doing something that you've never done, learning things that you've never learned, and becoming somebody that you've never been. Anything new when you're first starting out is scary. It's fearful. You'll feel a lot of frustration because you want to be great at it right away, but you just can't. That's just part of the learning curve. There's nothing you can do to avoid that. Your past experiences do not have to dictate the future of who and what you can still become. They can be used as learning lessons as to just how to get better and to become a different and greater version of who you were from the past. You have to look around you. Pay close attention to the people in the world. Pay close attention to why most people are not becoming who they ultimately could become, and that's because of them not acting and doing the things that they know they need to do. Right? Procrastination. The average person is jealous of the next person because of them feeling like they can't accomplish things. They don't have any real sense of self-awareness of their own unique abilities and the things that they can do to bring value to another person. They're quick to conform under pressure. They want to be someone that they think everybody will love, but what does this result in? This results in a person typically feeling depressed, sad, angry, resentful, because they look at certain people and they think, man, I wish I could do that. But instead of looking within themselves, they keep looking on the outside. When you can pay attention to your internal state and realize where the true root cause of fear is and where it comes from, that's a plant that you can uproot. You can literally yank that out of the soil just from recognizing who you are and the kind of thought processes that you are allowing to take root in your mind. Pay attention to what the 99% of people are doing and ask yourself, is that what you want to do? Is that going to help you achieve your goals? Nope. I made a video about this, how to beat the 99% of people and succeed, and it pretty much goes over these types of concepts but gives you a greater perspective on how to get outside of that 99% bubble and not live in fear. So I'll link that up there, if y'all want to go check that out. But at the end of the day, fear is something that I know we all face, but it doesn't have to control your life. The greatest thing that I've established in my own mind to help me overcome fear is just by realizing it's a state of mind. It's a literal thought process that can be accepted or rejected. So when you know what you want, if there's specific goals in your life, be prepared to tackle fear, because fear is going to be the one thing that's going to hold you back from doing the thing that you know you need to do, but you're just too afraid to do it. So there's two ways that you can deal with fear. One way is called systemic desensitization. That's a big word, right? But just to break it down to its bare elements, that's you dealing with fear and building up a tolerance to it slowly. When you set big goals that are beyond your scope or your realm or your knowledge of expertise in the moment, that seems like it's just so outside of you, you can become fearful, you can become afraid, you can become scared of doing something just from trying to look at it from a macro view all the time. But when it's broken down into bite-sized goals, they start to become a little bit more manageable. That's where systemic desensitization comes in. By taking the macro view, right? The macro goal, the thing that you want to accomplish, the overarching plan, vision, purpose for what you want to achieve in this lifetime, that's breaking it down into micro goals and allowing the inevitable fear that will come in from you attempting to achieve goals of that magnitude. That's you busting them down into smaller bite-sized goals and realizing that you can accomplish anything when it's put into smaller micro-sized bits. Another video I made, 10x goals, I'll link that up there. But when you want a bigger life, when you want greater things in your life that you want to achieve, you got to know how to approach them and just recognize the fear that's going to come from that. Whether it's through acquiring a specific skill, learning marketing, learning sales, learning persuasion, if you're in the business, all of these things will be fearful when you're learning them for the first time. But it's only through doing them repeatedly and repetitiously over a set period of time will you get better. And the fear of doing them no longer controls you. The other way of dealing with fear is just called flooding. And that's about as honest as it's going to get. You just flood yourself with all of the emotions and thoughts that come with fear, and you just diving head first, just doing the thing anyway, regardless of how fearful you feel in the moment. When you just go all in at once, which is my preferred method because I don't like sitting there thinking about anything for too long. When you just allow yourself to feel all the different emotions that come with the goal, with the situation, with the event, with whatever it is that's causing you fear, you'll eventually grow callous to it. And you'll find that the thing that invokes so much fear and seem to control you and grip you, it really ain't that scary, bro. Like, it's really not at the end of the day. It's just the way our minds work. When it's something we've never done, it'll seem so huge and like it's going to overcome you, like you're not capable or whatever the case is. It's just your mind. Like, that's just how our minds work. But like YouTube, right? Like YouTube for me, which is something that I haven't been on here for too long, but back in the day, even on social media before I was even doing anything, just speaking in public or doing anything of this nature where I know people will be looking at me used to scare the shit out of me. Literally. So I had to force myself because I would overthink everything. I would start to think, okay, do I have the right backdrop? Am I saying things the right way? Do I think people want to hear this or that? Bro, you just got to do shit. And that's what flooding is. Just allow yourself to feel the different emotions and the things that's going to come with you being afraid, and ask yourself, is this shit bigger? Is this more scarier than me not doing the thing I know I need to do and living a truly regretful life when it's all said and done because I chose to allow fear to take over? Hell no. Do what you know you need to do. Flood your damn mind and go through the motions that's going to come with you being afraid. That's just me. Or you can go through the systematic desensitization part and do it slowly. But at the end of the day, you're going to learn to have to deal with fear. When it comes to you achieving anything of greatness, being notarized in history as the person who did a thing, you're going to have to deal with fear. When you allow your mind to experience the unpleasant emotions associated with fear long enough, you will grow callous to its effects. Every great name who changed our world in some way, shape, or form experienced great fear and a strong sense of despair. Nonetheless, what they feared more than fear itself was never reaching their true potential and leaving this world the same as it was before they left. So you have to ask yourself, is fear really worth you not becoming who you're supposed to be? Is fear more important if you're a mother, father, leader in some capacity? Is it more important than having these people look at you awkwardly and weirdly as they see you teach them something that you yourself haven't done because of fear? Is that really worth it? No. So you have to understand that fear is a natural aspect of you growing. If you're growth oriented, if you're growth minded, each new level will require you to do things that you've never done, and that will create its own sense of fear. And that's completely okay. Again, that's part of being human. So just a couple of things that I've learned and that helped me and still helps me now to this day overcome fear when I'm transitioning into something new, if I'm trying something different for the first time. I just recognize that fear is part of the inevitable process of growing, becoming, and doing something you've never done. But for me, preparation, right, number one, is huge. When you're prepared and you do something ahead of time, let's say it's YouTube. For me, I do a lot of prep work. I do a lot of research. I like to give actual facts. I like to give unique perspectives. I like to make sure that I'm presenting the best possible case and information for what I'm about to present to you, my listener. right? Who really wants to do something unprepared? And I feel like that's where a lot of fearfulness is rooted in. When you do something and you're ill prepared when it's about to happen. When you do something enough times and you're prepared for that event that's getting ready to come up, you have this sense of confidence. You can speak boldly. You can say things with confidence because you know what you're about to say. You know what you're saying makes sense because this is something that you've been through already. The second one, which leads into the first, right? Preparation. Preparation leads into mental rehearsal. Number two, when you can rehearse the outcome in your mind, when you're planning in advance, right? Planning, preparation, and you're rehearsing, this also breeds more confidence. It does away with insecurity. You don't feel fearful because you can see this thing playing out in your head. I forgot her name. It's an Olympian, some younger girl, but she literally said this is what she did. She rehearsed her winning over and over and over. She would write it down on paper. She did it 500-600 times a day. So by you affirming your own belief in what you want and you making it clear to yourself that this is the outcome that you're looking for and this is the outcome that you're expecting, you begin prepping your mind. You begin creating your own reality because this is a situation that you can see happening in advance. Words are powerful. Affirmations are powerful. All these things are true. Literally, if you say things enough, your mind begins to create this belief system behind it. So by rehearsing things mentally, you give yourself an opportunity to see what can be. Number three, I found to be very helpful is expecting the unexpected. Now, we desire outcomes. Fear is based on not knowing the outcome. So as we mentally rehearse, we expect outcomes to take place because of this. So as we prepare and as we mentally rehearse, we expect specific outcomes to play out. But number three is your ability to pivot. You have to have a plan in order for it to work in the first place. That sounds like you having a plan B when we're only supposed to be planning on banking on plan A. Nonetheless, it's also part of plan A. That's you just saying, okay, this is what I expect. But in the event that something may or could go wrong, as it often does most of the time, that's you possessing the ability to pivot and do something different. It's like driving down the road. You're doing 75, you're floating, the road's clear. It's one of those freshly paved black roads, right? Feels good on the tires. You ain't feeling no bumps, you relaxed. But you see 3 cars ahead of you, everyone's swerving left. What are you gonna do? You can literally see everybody swerving. Are you gonna continue to go straight knowing that everyone's swerving for a reason? No, you're gonna pivot, right? But that's really all expecting the unexpected is. You're gonna remain on route. You're still going to the same destination. But in the event that something can go wrong, you have to be able to react. You have to be able to pivot and move. In these situations of life, as things begin to not necessarily go in the way that you planned, when it's all still a part of the same plan, by the way, because everything works together for your good, that's another mindset, that's a way of seeing it, but a lot of people don't see it that way. But in the event that it doesn't seem to be going your way, number 4 I found to be very helpful is having emotional control. Emotions are very, very powerful. They dictate a lot of what we do. They dictate our buying decisions. They dictate how we treat people. They dictate how we treat ourselves. If you don't have the mental stability to see fear as a motivator to get you to what you want, you will react out of emotion when things aren't going your way or perceived to not be going your way. Fear is the number one reason why most people make terrible decisions. So when you can feel those emotions, the things that begin to arise due to your lack of knowledge, due to your ignorance in a certain area of life, of not knowing, you can act accordingly. You can allow yourself to be in the driver's seat instead of being driven by fear. So at the end of the day, fear is something that we all have to deal with. It's something that's tough. It's something that's uncomfortable. It's something that you will undoubtedly experience at some point in your life, regardless of age, creed, religion, or background. It doesn't matter. You will experience fear. So who you become, what you can have, where you can go, and who you can help will all be determined by your ability to pivot through fear. This is one of my favorite biblical verses, but it said, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and of a sound mind. So there's absolutely nothing you need to be fearful of when you understand that you're molded and created in the image of God and that all things will work for you if that's your belief. Now, you may have a different belief. That's my belief. That's what's allowed me to get through some of the hardest times in my life. But regardless of your belief, you have to just see fear as an opportunity to grow, not to succumb to your circumstances, not to shrink back in the face of a new opportunity or something that just seems outside of your scope. You have to rise to the occasion, because all fear is literally a situation, a event, or something that your mind can't predict. You're fearful because you can't see the outcome. But if you're going to change the world, if you're going to build anything, if you're going to become anybody, it's going to happen through you facing fear head on and recognizing the intrinsic transformation that's going to come from you facing and tackling that challenge of fear head on. Whether that be through speaking, whether that be through becoming a parent for the first time, building a business, taking on a new job opportunity, it doesn't matter what it is that you're doing. Whatever the level of fear that you're at, you can overcome it and become somebody completely different just from changing the lens on how you're looking at that fearful situation. But that's all I got, my folks. I'm always thankful for the opportunity to create videos like this. If this video was of any value to you, please feel free to click like and subscribe. I make videos like this weekly. Feel free to browse through what I have in my archive. I help others also with personal brand building, and I help solo entrepreneurs along with new personal brand owners build their brands through creating powerful mindsets and helping them leverage their own unique abilities. So if you're looking to grow your own personal brand, you can contact me in the email I have in the description. Or if you just want to browse through some other content, feel free to go ahead, binge on that. And for now, I'll see y'all in the next video. Until next time, peace and blessings to you, peeps.